Greetings and welcome to the People's Ascension for for our first after show of the Creeping Tangle, our demo play miniseries for our Heroic Chord feature of RPGs Uncovered. I'll start, as I usually do, with thanking you for watching this, because if you're watching this, that means you're a supporter of the channel, which, makes my little heart tomato swell with joy. And, it also helps me afford things like supporting future creators, whether they be TTRPG writers, other writers, uh, artists, musicians, people who make emotes and whatnot. So your support is very much appreciated. And for that, random ramblings and wild speculation. Okay, so I will start random ramblings and wild speculation with this was a ton of fun. I had a great time. Thank
Yay.
you all for being fantastic players in the start of this story. Really started it off well with that very wholesome campfire scene. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Before we get into any specifically directed questions, I know, Kat, you've proposed memory time in the
Memory
book
time.
in how you do things. You do that on sort of symphonies. So that is basically just looking back on this session and speaking to what was memorable to each of you as players and perhaps even as characters. So does anyone have anything that really stood out today?
I do. I do. I do. Me first. Cat
Go for it.
first. When we all got out of the vision, and Maud's like, and you, and there was a period, not a question mark. But Donna taking a second to be like, I don't feel anything. This is like that was a really interesting glimpse into like crisis mode Kalos, who is not
Yeah.
necessarily as gentle and handholdy as like convincing Marius he's okay to talk to people Kalos.
Hmm.
I thought that Donna showed us two very different sides of the same person in one session that
Yeah,
I really liked that.
Oh,
I agree.
thank you. Yes, because I was going for that as well. I was going for, well, listen, like she's at 5 scatter. She's not at 8 scatter, or like, yeah,
Yeah.
that y'all were, right? Like y'all were up there and I was like, but I felt like I wasn't like, you know, Callus is gonna get like a bit more biting and a bit more cold and a bit more, but like she wasn't at that level, so I
Mhm.
was like, she's got a bit of politeness, so she's not just gonna be like, I don't care about you or anything. Like I it was just kind of like, no, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
can I go next with
Yeah,
what I want to
keep
share,
going,
or
Sure.
is
Donna.
there?
Yeah.
Okay, I really liked it when Doyle like leapt in there. I thought it was really cool because you took on 5 scatter like immediately, and I was like, oh my god! And
Mhm.
Okay.
I just thought that that was like a really cool way to just be like, yeah, like this is how Doyle is. Like Doyle's like, it's not like none of us have put all of our stats into like daring or stuff, but it felt daring. You know what I mean? Like it felt like you were like it was so cool to be like, oh, like Doyle's going to help. Like Doyle's gonna be the main person who's helping, and I was like, great. I really like that. I thought it really set the tone too. Like I thought it set the tone for the entire encounter as well.
Yeah,
Aside
I
from Oh, sorry. Hold on, let me just finish.
oh,
Aside
no,
from
go.
the like 5 success rolls that you added to the advantage
That
pool,
advantage pool was ridiculous.
I was like,
It was.
but I yeah, but I
Oh.
thought Doyle really set the tone for the crisis through that action, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it as like how can Doyle get the most information at once? And that was the first thing that came to mind was,
Mhm.
all right, so the best way to learn more is to dive in. And so that was just that naturally seemed to be the thing to go to. But I did not realize it was going to be quite that risky when I started that plan, but
Mhm.
at a certain point you just keep going.
Yeah.
So,
Scatter builds up quickly, especially when you're using it to just shave off a whole advance.
yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think for me the most memorable part probably would have been like just the interactions in general with the townspeople, like seeing how you two play your characters with the NPCs. We got a real glimpse into really the heart of the characters here. It was interesting to me how quickly you all were able to just jump in and say, all right, this is how I would interact, this is how I would do this. Whereas my character was more of a sit back and watch character, and so like it was cool seeing you all take charge of that and sort of drive the story forward.
And then when we're standing outside the yurt and both of us just look at Doyle and just like, well, you're the people person, do
Mhm.
it.
It does. Like, I got all the cultural norms. I got it, guys. And I'm just like, great, you got it.
Mhm.
I'm not.
And then nobody answered when I knocked, which
Uh-huh.
is the cultural norm.
Uh-huh.
Like
Threw you there.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
valid.
so funny. And then Mary's just stumbling and like
Oh, my
crashing
poor
into
boy.
Mhm.
like it was
and like I in particular I did love Marius falling down and then like falling all over himself to try and apologize for falling into this person's tent. The
Mhm.
person has not noticed Marius, and Marius has not noticed that. Marius is too busy
Mhm.
trying to make sure that no offense was given to notice that the person isn't even really present.
Yep.
Yeah. He's just priorities.
No, you two both, you play your characters spectacularly, and I love that.
You all do.
thank
You all do.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
a good team.
This group, you guys all created very unique characters that all bring something different to the table in really exciting creative ways. So we get 3 different perspectives and 3 different angles to everything that comes up, and it's great.
Yeah.
I will second that sentiment of you guys playing off the NPCs, because I had some ideas for NPCs, but most of that was, of course, improv, as GMs tend to do. I always enjoy playing sweet old couples. It's always fun being wholesome. I enjoyed that conversation with them and Marius buying that fruit in a very Marius sort of way. um, and then the complete 180, complete flip side of that coin, walking into the bar and meeting the bartender. It just such an opposite NPC.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
from this sweet slow talking old couple to the rapid fire waitress there. It was great. Her name was Bunny, by the way, but it never
Oh.
came up.
That was impolite of us.
We should have
It
asked.
You should have.
We should've.
Doyle, where's the cultural norm?
Bunifrid, or Bunny for short.
Mm.
We might see more of her. We'll see. I doubt you'll be sticking around in Rose Rest for too long because you have some tangle to deal with now.
We have urgent business.
I thought that the whole like vision sequence, like I just want to give kudos to you as the
That was
DM.
neat.
Like
Yeah.
that whole thing was incredibly done. Like it was nice because you were like, Kalos isn't really part of this. I was like, I get to sit back and enjoy. I just sat back and listened. I was like, this is fantastic. But y'all had
All
to be
the
like,
imagery, none of the stress.
Yeah.
right, exactly. Y'all are like, oh, how do I like respond to this? I was like,
'Cause there was
I
a
don't
lot in
have
there.
to.
Yeah. There was a lot in there to interpret and a lot in there you could interact with. No, I love me some dream sequences. I am a big fan of using dream sequences, whether they're dreams or visions or, people messing mentally with your head through magics or whatnot. I love me some dream sequences, some poetry,
Yeah.
things that are purposely vague and unclear. So I'm glad you enjoyed that, because it can definitely be very hit or miss, because if it's not evocative appropriately, it just goes completely over everyone's head. So I'm glad it resonated with you guys.
Yeah.
I came up with that bird idea. It's those things
Burp.
just hit me, and that bird, that bird was in for some
That
bad
burp.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The burb. Poor burb.
Okay. Well, that was some fun memory time.
Mm,
Let uh let me ask you all some more pointed questions. Uh, more about the session and how things played out, and then we'll get into some more questions about the episode as a whole. If we actually covered a good amount of these in just memory time. Uh,
yay.
but let's see. Um, we actually covered a number of these already in just you guys boosting each other up with memory time. I really like that all of the memories you mentioned were memories of other people and not like, hey, remember this cool thing I did. Um, which,
You
yeah.
gotta.
Yeah, well,
Um,
because it would be hard if you guys didn't do cool stuff, I guess.
yeah.
But you guys kept doing cool things, so I have to bring it up.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, let me ask each of you this. What if anything what's something meaningful that your character learned today?
I kind of had two.
Sure.
One of them is that just like when sufficiently scattered, Marius is a lot less anxious around people because he's not thinking. So as a result, he was able to just go right up to Maud,
Mm-hmm. And
which
beyond that, into the tangle of the town.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing. Marius has an ability. His ability is Maze Master. He cannot get lost. He has a
Mm.
perfect sense of direction. So I'm excited for us to go to this town now that he has, like, he knows this town. He's been there.
Yeah,
He's been there once.
it's a
So
good point.
he learned something concrete, and he also kind of learned something about himself that, like, he does have the courage to interact with people directly. It just maybe takes taking a couple knocks
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. It's interesting that you can find that positive side to being scattered. Because it's usually associated with something that's like you don't want to scatter, you don't want to lose yourself. But in losing a bit of yourself, you might get a little bit more relatable because you don't have that burden on you.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
kind of takes the edge off his anxious thoughts.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. Anyone else have anything? What they learned this session? This would be factual information or things about themselves, things about
I
another
think
character.
I think Doyle uh Doyle learned something about taking risks, I would say.
Hmm.
Because when I designed the character, I was trying to focus on ways to reduce how much scatter you take, and essentially an accomplish more with less type character. And then I spent the most scatter immediately,
Hmm.
just and you know I think that what Doyle learned is that sometimes you're gonna find that no matter what your plan is, you don't know what the consequences are until it's already in motion.
Hmm.
And you have to be able to roll with that, and you have to be able to move forward. And that's pretty much what he did. He said, all right, that took more out of me than I wanted it to, but I have a job to do. I got to do it.
Yeah,
So
and did it well. That crisis went by. It was always supposed to be a relatively easy crisis. It was never in question if you were going to complete it before bad things amounted. But I expected two turns, and I only got one, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That advantage pool, man, starting off with 11 advantage, well, 6, and then the extra 5 you tacked onto that. That was crazy. That
yeah.
was
That
that
was
was a lot to draw from.
the one good roll of the session.
Yeah.
You did well.
Five out of 6 dice rolling a success there. Yeah, that pretty much locked the encounter down.
Mhm.
Uh,
I think that does lead into another thing that I learned, just to interject real quick. I learned that my experience playing rogues made me really overestimate how many dice 5d6 is.
mhm.
because like rolling 5d6 as a rogue for a sneak attack sounds wonderful,
Yeah.
but for this, we would roll 5d6 and get 1, maybe 2 successes. So
Yeah.
like it's definitely put some things into perspective there too.
Yeah. Yeah, Donna, did you have something?
Yeah, I think she actually learned something negative. I don't know.
Sure.
I,
Any character growth is good character growth.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think she learned like she can just leave it to these two.
I'm not dealing with it. You take
Lord
it.
have it.
Like, honest, I know you expected 2 turns, and I feel like I could have given you 2 turns. Like, I feel like she could just be like, yeah, I'll roll and I'll take 3 sixes. I was like, I was really attached to the idea of using a spell, but like, it was feasible that I'm like, yeah, I'll just draw from the pool of 3 and end the combat. And Kalos could have ended with like 2 scatter. Well,
Mhm.
these 2 did it, and I think I don't know if that's like a good message because out of the 3 of them, like she was like, yeah, I'm gonna be more reserved when it comes time, and that selfishness did kind of peek out where she was like, yeah, like I'm I ain't helping, y'all do the heavy lifting, I'll be over here, and not in that so flippantly, but like certainly a little part of her was a little bit, kind of like looking out for numero uno.
Mhm.
And so it's like, I think she just learned, like, yeah, like, unless they actually need me, these 2 are really capable.
Aw.
And
Yeah.
they could just,
Kella's close to the circle, and it was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
yeah, but like, I
But
don't think
the
she's
the flip side, the flip side of that could be that you learned that you can trust your companions.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
all about how you spin it, because
it's
it's the
neat.
same lesson, just one from a glass half empty and one from a glass half full perspective.
Right. I feel like Callus is going to like half empty though. Like
Mhm.
she is just like especially if I feel like if in these upcoming sessions she does like scatter more and then she's like, okay, I'm not gonna scatter more because I don't like that. And then watching these 2, it's like, well, it's not me. Who cares?
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, like it's gonna be interesting how it gets played out for sure.
Uh-oh. Because,
I'm
like, Marius's lesson is people are stronger than you think, because he has a habit of being the person who just, like, takes the hit for people and, like, does the heavy lifting for people.
Right.
So this could be a very toxic dynamic.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like
Yeah.
you could it's like whether or not they learn their own lessons, I guess we'll just see how this develops. But there is a great
Mhm.
chance that due to this relationship, they just don't learn their lessons.
Yeah. I mean, I could see. I mean, I could see definitely learning a lesson with that. In so much that, I mean, there's 3 of you. If it was only 2 of you, he wants to take the hit. She doesn't. Perfect world. But there's 3 of you. So when Marius goes to throw himself in front of a problem for Doyle, leaving Kalos there, yeah, you're gonna
Callus
have
is
to
like,
step up. Yeah.
right, but then this
Doyle
time
is not tough.
Mhm.
Doyle ran in there. Like
Yeah.
Doyle said, 5 scatter, let's go, and put his hands on Maud's
Yep.
shoulder. Like I feel like Callus was like, oh, okay.
I was really hoping someone was going to actively drop into the vision. So thank you, both of you, for doing that, because that does really help working your way through a dream sequence when you can be an active participant in shaping the dream sequence.
Yeah, like if one of us wasn't in the actual vision, the vision gets so much more difficult.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like
You got a
don't
lot
know
more
what's going
information.
on. You get whatever jumbled,
Mm-hmm.
garbled nonsense comes out of the person's mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also very glad that Kalos did close that circle, because if the circle didn't get closed, there could have been some problems, because the circle was going to close one way or another.
Uh-oh. Yay, we're
Oh,
holding hands,
the
everybody.
power of holding hands.
It's
The
it's
power
almost
of
like there's entities made out of emotions and memories of people that can manifest spontaneously in this setting.
Oh yeah.
Oh
That
God, thank
vision
God.
was gonna spawn a little horror to close that circle if nobody did.
Well,
Well,
Preemptive strike, so I
Yeah.
didn't
well
have to use my
done.
combat specialty.
Yeah. You're sitting in a circle and all of a sudden you're holding hands with a ghost that
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Oh no.
that could have been interesting. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was another thing that was going to happen, the thought clamp
Oh yeah,
ability
yeah.
that I had for
You
this.
promised the thought
yeah,
camp.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
promised to take us to thought camp.
It was going to be more. It was, I think it was always going to go to Doyle with how the event was going down. Um,
yeah,
but I figured I would make it more difficult. But you were right in pointing out that if I have to spend an advantage here to do this, or I have to wait and spend an advantage here to do this, you might as well go for the one that's going to be more helpful than just
yeah.
negating something. So I'll have to think about different ways to incentivize you to take uh, some of these hits. Um, but Thought Clamp could have been interesting because that was, yeah, that was just because that would have been for the second round. I'm trying to remember what made me think that was a good idea. Uh, but oh right, you were really connecting with Maud. You
Face to
went
face,
face to
one on
face,
one.
one on
Yeah,
one. Yeah. So Thought Clamp, Maud's mind clamps shut temporarily, and because you were so linked to that, your mind would have been clamped shut with her. And the consequence would of that would be redirect cannot be advanced until either destroy or outlast is advanced,
oh,
which would have drawn things out, forced you to do things a little bit differently, and you know, do you give into that? Do you go the destroy route, which could have been really interesting to try to tackle, or the just get out of the situation route, especially since Doyle was uh, so heavily committed to being an anchor point to that? I think that could have
Yeah.
been fun, but I didn't get a chance.
yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, I was actually considering Outlast, but like Doyle took the lead on redirect, and I was like, okay,
Mhm.
all right, let's redirect.
Yep. It was the
I
easiest one
think,
to advance.
and I think that ultimately Doyle's first instinct is always going to be which one gets us more information quicker,
Mm.
and so that was why that was just right into what Doyle did.
Yeah. Okay. Um, anyone have any other commentary on cool moments today?
I liked interacting with Bunny because I liked being just so uncomfortable.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
I
my
worry myself at how easily I fall into those types of characters that just sporadically just sort
Yeah.
of they just kind of keep going whether they have anything to say or not, and it's just really sort of rapid fire because I can really relate to that even though it's not. I mean, I try, it really, you know, it just goes and goes.
And the funny thing is that I'm kind of naturally very gregarious. Um, but playing a character who's not, I got to just be like, oh my god, it's still
Too
happening.
much. Too much.
Help.
Yeah.
Doyle, help. Callus, help. Doyle, someone.
Yeah.
Kaz was like, "Yay!" and then Buddy keeps going, "Yay!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very good. Yeah. Just being just like huge, terrified
Mhm.
Marius. Not knowing what to do.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, you guys taking a much more roundabout approach to getting information. Because you never really directly came out and been like, hey, Bunny, the world's ending, what's going on?
no, we just asked where do we find the
Yeah,
prophet.
yeah. So you got
Yeah.
you got a little bit of information from Bunny, but it got you where you were going.
It did.
Yeah.
It did get us where we were headed.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with all the imagery in this episode. This game in particular lends itself to a lot of imagery and metaphor, which I think is fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, let's round us out here because I think we talked about most of it. I will say I always enjoy playing animals. It's one of my favorite things to do. So being able to play Nefo
Yeah.
was great. Yeah.
Nefo's good.
Just-
Nefo's
good.
Nefo's
I,
excellent.
I like how Doyle's just like,
Exactly.
very
Yeah, I agree.
Very
course.
interesting. Yes.
so good.
Yeah, and we decided like from the word go that Nefo is heavily motivated by food.
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah,
Very food motivated.
yeah.
That's all right.
I loved that you guys took that little mushroom tidbit and really ran with it because that could have been such a minor detail like these mushrooms are nasty, we'll just pick them out and put them to the side, but no, you did a whole like full group role play with that on
Yeah.
like
Yep.
cold open. That was great.
I also thought it was really cute how we decided kind of wordlessly that all three of us were going to have different reactions to
Mhm.
these mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
like one thing we
Yeah.
decided on before we started is that like Marius can't cook. He gets distracted and he burns things. But when he's on his own, he eats his own cooking. So like this is not the grossest thing Marius has eaten because he can't cook. And also he knows he can't cook, so he doesn't want to be ungrateful for his friends cooking for him.
Mm-hmm.
So he will eat the mushrooms.
Mhm.
He will do it, and it will it will hurt him, but he will do it. And we have just Doyle picking them out, Kalos waiting till no one is looking to try to throw them away.
Yeah.
It's just like we all kind of had different ways of handling the fact that dinner wasn't good, which I thought was very cute.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, all three of you have very different characters and all play out in very interesting, connected ways. The both how you play off of each other and how you contrast each other is really nice. I'm really looking forward to seeing how more of that plays out and how it shapes the dynamic of this party. Because we did start out by saying that you guys have been traveling for a while, but obviously this is the first time that us four have been playing together. So we have to learn each other as players through our characters and have less information about each other than our characters in story would, having traveled together quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the group both the player group and the character group comes together with all of these three different perspectives and ways of going about things. So
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
I'm really looking forward to that too. Most of the games I play are with people I've known for decades
Mhm.
at this point. So it's really refreshing getting to play with people that I barely know
Mhm.
at this point. So, it's just it's cool.
I love playing with new people. Always new
Yeah.
perspectives.
Such a blast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're coming up at time here, so we can get on with our respective evenings. Let's end this with a little bit more boosting of each other and a little speculation in the future. So, what is something you want to see from another player? Proposing a scene or something you saw them do that you like and you want to see them do more of that or expand on that? What's something that you want to see from another player?
I think I want to see more of Doyle being a people person because I think it's a fun contrast to Marius, who is very much not, and to Kalos, who is kind of like me and mine first. I think seeing Doyle just like interacting with people and taking the lead from these two awkward goobers would be something that I enjoyed the time that you did it, diving right in with Maud, and I think that's something I'd like to see more of too.
Yeah, I'm excited to explore the character a little more on that way as well.
Yeah.
I think as far as um what I'd like to see in the future. I would like to see um I would like to see more of Marius sort of inadvertently coming out of his shell. You would fixate on something to do with architecture, and I think it's going to be really cool to see Marius accidentally ramble on at an NPC about architecture.
No, it's gonna be
And it's going to be great, and I think that we can get some really cool interactions within the party when that happens.
Kalos is
Uh
just gonna be like thumbs upping, like getting behind the NPC out of the NPCs, like you're doing great, like you can.
and that's the other side of things too. Like I'm looking forward to seeing more of Callus. Like you almost seem to take on a bit of a leadership role as we entered town. And I think that it's going to be really interesting to see that dynamic play out, as well as you've got Marius uh, potentially stumbling into some social pitfalls, and Doyle basically looking like the world's greatest mark. Like part of part of the character is just you look so trustworthy and friendly that anybody thinks they can take advantage of you. And I think it's going to be really cool seeing how Kalos plays off of that, having stepped into more of a leadership role once we entered the town.
I think it was because Doyle was like, I'm an average guy. Like, I'll just like I'll just lay back and let these two handle it. Marius was like,
Just don't be noticed. That's Doyle's plan. Don't be noticed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then Cal's was like, wait, I have to do. Oh God! All right, here we go. Like
Mhm.
my people battery isn't fully charged, but I'll try my best.
The people battery. I can relate to the people battery not being fully charged.
Mhm.
I'll add on to that. I really liked seeing Kalos seeing a very clearly bleak, dreary, negative situation and going, no, I'm gonna inject some nice love into this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
casting a spell.
that
I'm
was
making
also
nice,
really cool.
pretty pink bubble with rose smells. We're getting some kindness and some support and some love in between all this tangled mess. And I
Yeah.
definitely, because it was so
Yeah.
antithetical to everything that was going on. I'm like, how is this going to, oh, it's going to work just because it works.
Yeah.
I loved that injection of positivity in a situation that was so clearly negative.
Yeah.
That was fun. Donna, did you have anything in particular? I don't know if we covered you yet.
I think Pat actually took mine, which
Mm.
is really funny. But it was
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
because I really liked it when it was like Marius like overscattered, well not overscattered, but like scattered quite high, and then was like the anxiety because he just wasn't thinking, like all melted away, and so it was kind of like he came out of his shell, and then like you and Kat were talking about it was like, oh, like finding the good parts and scattering, and then being able to like harness that, and you don't have to be so anxious all that time. And I think like going forward, like that'd be like such a cool way to take the character and just like enjoy
No.
how he develops and all of that. I will say that I'm just excited to see how y'all's characters develop. Like
Yeah. We're gonna.
I feel like I trust the direction y'all are going in, and it's very exciting. It's very motivating. It's very like super cool. So it's like I feel like this intense, like not intense, but this like immense joy, I guess. And then also like, how am I going to develop Kalos and like with these two like amazing players?
Hmm. Yeah, I
We're
I
best friends.
Yeah.
I can second that sentiment.
We're.
So
We're best friends.
to lead us out of this after show, does anyone have any wild speculation as to the future of what's going on? I love some nice tinfoil hat polishing.
Burb is metaphor. Burb not real. Everything else real. Burb not. Not real burb.
That's actually really good. Like the bird represents freedom, and it's just that people's like freedom is being. What if everything's a What
Yeah.
if
I mean, who knows at this point? We could go to this town and find that there are no plants growing out of people's skulls. And everybody is putting on a smile and everybody's happy, but something insidious is going on in the shadows. Like there's definitely mind control or something going on, but it doesn't have anything to do with actual plants.
There's
That's-
fluoride in the fountain and it's controlling people's minds like the
Oh.
snow does.
Oh my god!
Yep, definitely that.
Oh, tinfoil. I love it. Yeah, because it's like, what if the bird represents freedom and like individuality, and then the creeping tangle that's like piercing it and taking away its ability to find like stable ground and like stand on its own 2 feet and all of that.
Oh.
What if that's just not real? What if that's just a like obey or die, I guess.
Or what if there is a real plant, and maybe the bird is still fake, but there's a real plant that somehow its spores got into the fountain, and it is definitely still controlling people's minds.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to grow a bunch of thorny vines to do it.
The thorny vines are a metaphor. The burb is a metaphor. The fountain is real. The bubble is real. The bubble is love.
There's a lot of ways this could go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only so much you can hold on and pull with the first episode, but I love it. I love it. I always enjoy hearing how the players think things will go. Okay, well, that's
Love
all
it.
I have for this first after show. So I always just like to end with everyone have a good time, everyone doing good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Had a blast. I had a blast. It was a great time, and I am very much looking forward to next week and everything that is ahead for this mini series and the rest of this RPGs Uncovered feature.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go enjoy the rest of our evenings. That's the end of this after show. This will be up. Well, if you're watching it, it's up now, so I don't need to announce when it's going to be up. So I hope you enjoyed our random ramblings and wild speculation, and keep checking back for more because we're going to be posting. The character sheets will be coming up soon if they're not up already. So go look for those really fun character sheets with really fun descriptions of the characters. I really like that we've used a number of skills and even dipped into our key quite a bit. So you can follow along with the character sheets. I will be keeping those updated. So that's going to be fun. And the bite-sized tutorials for RPGs Uncovered, all the rules for Heroic Chord will be going up in the next few weeks, staggered throughout the next few weeks. Okay, so that's all I got. Thank you, the three of you, for joining me today, joining me for this feature. This was a great time. I always love the first game of a new series, of a new show, of a new mini campaign, because it's just so refreshing to get new characters in, especially when I'm getting new players in. Like I said, I love playing with new players, and just watching you guys just take the reins and run with it in your own unique way. So that was really fun for me, because it's very much your story, and I'm just here to throw up some bumpers every now and then and make sure you're going in a cool direction. But I am very much looking forward to where you guys are taking your characters in this story.
Me too.
Me
All
too.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, we're gonna go scatter. Hopefully not scatter in the way that this game refers to, but we're all going to leave and do our own thing. Yeah, really. I mean, probably a little bit of scatter after a full day of gaming, especially streaming. There's definitely a little bit of scatter.
Little bit.
Yeah. So we're gonna go do what we need to recover that scatter. But yeah, keep checking back here on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, on Discord. Come hang out with all of us. It's a great time, and we'll see you next week for part 2 of the Creeping Tangle. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Have a good night. Heart tomatoes.
Bye.
Heart
Tomatoes.
tomato.